Welcome everybody to our weekly wellness check. It's meant to just be a group of friends that get together and talk about connected fitness, talk about fitness in general, talk about our week, talk about Peloton, because most of us are Peloton riders, runners, strength people. And so, again, it's just meant to be like conversation for a Thursday night, no stress. If you want to join the conversation, just hit the hand in the lower right of your phone. We'll pull you right up on stage. If not, please do not stress out about it. It is not meant to be stressed. Just hang out in the audience. Just listen. That is all good. And so let's jump in. You know what I noticed last week? It like Clubhouse gives me like these notifications, like people raise their hands. So I go, oh, okay, come on, come up. But I guess it's not always people raising their hands. Like sometimes I'm like pulling people up. I have to figure out how to distinguish the difference like that.
That's hilarious. I've seen it say that someone raised their hand and I go in and they're already gone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, John must have pulled them up already, or Tammy or whatever, but I haven't inadvertently pulled up someone.
Yeah, I like inadvertently like pulled somebody up last week. I thought they were raising their hand. I just pulled them up. It's craziness. So I'll learn I'm learning. I'm going to get it right. But anyway, I guess the first topic wasn't even really on the agenda. And until this morning? Right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, your Nostradamus prediction just came true because of all them emails you was getting in your email box that was being sent to you and you only, talking about Peloton and Dick's Sporting Goods. Like, how long ago was that you was getting those emails?
I got the first one like the middle of June.
Man, this is crazy.
Like, it's crazy, right?
Over 3 months ago, you was getting Peloton, Dick's Sporting Goods email. It was like Dick's Sporting Goods was advertising that they were the only place that you could pick up a Peloton treadmill or something, right?
Yep, that's what it said. The subject line was the only place you can get this treadmill.
Right.
And then when you opened it, it had Peloton in there, but it wasn't a Peloton treadmill. And the only way I even found it is because I was in my inbox looking for something for Peloton. Like, I was searching Peloton, and this Dick's email came up as my search results. And I was like, why the hell is a Dick's email coming up in my search for Peloton? And I open it, and sure enough, it's got Peloton in there. I was like, what the hell? Okay, whatever. Like, ignored it. And then I got like 2 more. In July, I got 2 more. And then when I got the third one, I reached out to someone at Peloton. And I was like, hey, look, I don't really know, like, who I should mention this to, but I've gotten this email from Dick's and it says Peloton in it. And they're like, oh, and I sent them a screenshot. And they're like, oh, thank you so much for letting me know. Can you forward me the email?
Right.
And I'm like, yes, I forwarded them the email. And then I haven't gotten any since then.
Oh, so they shut it down, whatever it was. But that is crazy that you was getting those emails.
So crazy.
So anyway, today, I guess they officially announced to you 3 months ago, but they officially announced to the rest of us this morning that now Peloton, the Bike Plus, Tread, and Guide, I guess, you'll be able to pick up in 100 different Dick's Sporting Goods locations. I'm assuming they're just starting out with 100 because they're testing it out, I guess, like, or they're being strategic. Are there places where there are not many showrooms? I don't know why it's 100, but that's what it sounds like. It's like a strategic thing. And the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that was, well, if you're putting this stuff in Dick's, then what you need showrooms for? That's what came to my mind. Like, I started thinking, is this like the precursor? This is like the beginning of the phase out. I mean, because they're not only putting them in the, you can go in and there's like the pop-up in the store, it sounds like. But you'll also be able to order Peloton equipment via Dick's Sporting Goods online. So now I'm like, what we need showrooms for? What's up with that?
Well, I'm thinking they'll probably keep some of the showrooms,
right?
Maybe the ones that are really popular and do really well, like clearly the one in New York.
Yeah.
And like some of the bigger ones. But like for people like me, there's no showroom close to me.
Right.
So King of Prussia is like maybe 30, 40 minutes away. Dick's is 10 minutes away.
Right.
So it's super convenient for me that they're going to be in Dick's. I mean, or anyone who lives in my area, or just people walk in the mall.
Right.
Like, you know how many people make impulse purchases because they walk in the mall and see something?
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Like, yeah. And that's what I was thinking, like, for the scenario that you're talking about, where it's a location where it's difficult to get to a showroom and they could, like, strategically throw this stuff in Dick's, and it kind of just expands their kind of brick and mortar, you know, it kind of expands that channel. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, maybe they'll close some of the ones that aren't doing that great. Some of the showrooms that are not high traffic, don't really pull in any business.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll close some of those because they have a Dick's and just keep the major ones. Like, they don't even have a showroom in Philly.
Yeah.
Like, which is crazy to me that there's not one in the city. I mean, the city would be further away from me anyway. But just thinking about, Peloton as a whole, how do you not have a showroom in the city?
Yeah, that's kind of
The
weird.
closest one is King of Prussia.
Right.
Which, I mean, I guess King of Prussia goes along with the high-end stuff because that would be considered our high-end mall.
Right.
But it just seems wild that they don't have one in Center City.
Yeah, that is kind of wild. I got another question, but I'm bringing Courtney before I ask this question. What's going on, Courtney?
Hey, family, how are y'all tonight?
All is good. All is good.
Good. I just want to say congrats on all the work that you've been doing for the Historical Society. I've just been watching your journey and just super impressed with that. So just wanted to shout you out for that.
Oh,
But I
appreciate you
think
for that.
I think the Dick's thing as well as the Amazon thing offloads a lot of that inventory. I think they have a lot of sunk capital
Mm-hmm.
and cash
Mm-hmm.
in that. And I think this partnerships allows them to be more cash rich, just looking at from an investor standpoint to get that inventory moving because the longer it sits, the longer it's not bringing in any revenue.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that is, that brings up another question in my mind too. It's like, are they? Well, I guess they said that in the press release. I probably have to go back and read it. Like, what is actually going to be there at Dick's for you to just pick up while you're there? Or is it like you go in there and you can just order through them just like you could order through a showroom, right? Because if it is like you said, if it is they're like holding inventory, then it's just like you said, like now they can just like, send that inventory to these 100 stores and they don't have to be storing it. But I know they had that in there, but I just don't remember what they said.
I don't know what it said, but it would be smart for them to have some in stock that people can take home, especially since now they're giving you the option to put it together yourself.
Right.
So that would be perfect. I'm not saying you have to stock hundreds of thousands of them in the Dick's store, but if you have some, somebody might walk in there and be like, I want to take this now, and they take it and they go.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I think it'd be smart. And I'm sure that is how they'll play it. Okay. So I got this question that I asked Erica this morning. Oh, but before I ask, let me bring in Sharice before I ask this question. What's going on, Sharice?
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Another thought just to go off with the Dick's comment is I think it just makes sense for Peloton to add, bikes into that space because I know Dick's carries, like there's an eco bike, they have like the Schwinn bikes, and like other treadmills if they decide to go into that space. So giving people an option to kind of like what Danielle said, walk into a store, make that impulse buy, just continues to bring more people onto the platform.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it's a good thing. I was with it. I know I saw a lot of folks out on different social channels, you're not really with it. Like, but I'm like with it. Anything that like brings Peloton to a space where people are at, and people might like you said impulse buy or pick it up. I'm like good with so. But okay, so the question someone asked me this question. Someone texted me this question, and so then I just went and asked the question to Erica. So I was like, okay. If Peloton now, you can go and buy a Peloton bike through Amazon. You can now go to a big box, sporting goods store and pick up a Peloton, right? And through their online channel, through the big box, you can pick up a Peloton. If you can do all of that now, what's the difference between the strategy of Peloton and Echelon. And was Echelon just smarter because they've been having this strategy all along? Right? So I asked Erica that question, and she's like, no. Peloton had a smart strategy. Their problem was they got way too arrogant when they were like blowing up, which took them to this place. So that was her response. But I'm interested to hear what you guys think. They're the way they're like, marketing bikes and the places that they're placing them is just like what Echelon has done all along. So what does this mean?
Well, I will say Echelon is also in Big Lots, though. So
okay, you're right.
Let's not
you're right.
throw them together.
You're right.
But I agree with Erica. I think Peloton had it right in the beginning, and I just think because they were growing so fast and they just got so cocky with how it was happening during COVID that they really didn't think about life post-COVID or like life middle of COVID as things were starting to come back. They just were looking at these crazy numbers.
Right.
And then they overproduced, and now they have all this inventory. They overproduced, they overspent. So I think they just got ahead of themselves. But I think their original strategy was a good one.
I think it was too. I think it was a good one then. And I think if they had been really frugal and if they had like stayed the course and if they didn't start like air shipping and talking about, Disneyland for Peloton, that output park, if they hadn't started doing all that stuff and they just stayed like thinner, you're right. I think they'd have been all good. I think, they thought that COVID was going to last forever, and they kind of took it too far, which brought them to this place where I think they have to like find other channels. I think she was right. I think she was right after the question. All right. Yeah, I was curious to see what you guys thought. All right. Well, anyway, I'm excited about it. I can't wait. I think they said sometime before the holidays or something. I don't know what that means. Probably before sometime in late October, early November. But I can't wait for that to start. I want to see if it's going to be in a Dick's near me. I'm curious to see if it truly is like a pop-up, or is it like they're just sitting on the floor just with every other piece of equipment. When I look at the image, it looks like a mini pop-up is the way it looks. But I don't know if that was just a graphic they created for this.
So I was wondering if they're going to do kind of like, I guess it's kind of like a pop-up, but it's almost like a build-out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been at any of the Kohl's recently, but Kohl's has built a Sephora in part of Kohl's.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So when you go into Kohl's, it's almost like a Sephora store in the Kohl's. So I was wondering if they would do something similar like that with Peloton to kind of give it its own little space.
Right.
And hopefully they have better trained people. Because I can tell you right now, most of the people who work at Dick's are like high school kids who don't know shit.
Right.
And they are definitely not good at selling anything or explaining anything. Or, I'll ask them a question sometimes and they'll tell me this. And I'm like, no, it's not that.
Right.
So hopefully they have like some well-trained staff for dealing with the Peloton stuff.
Today, like there's nowhere you could go today where the day you walk in, you walk out with one of these pieces of hardware, right? There is no place like that, right? I don't think so. So
no place. Because I think even if you go into the showroom for a guide, you have to order it.
Right.
You can't leave with it.
So that in and of itself, I guess, would be new if it is the way we're thinking about it. Like if you could just walk in and just pick up a guide and walk out, or just walk in, say, I want a bike, oh, it's in stock, and you just leave with the bike.
And they're going to have accessories and stuff too, right?
That's what it said.
So you could like walk in and buy some shoes if you want them.
Right.
I think it's a great idea that you could just randomly go in there and buy stuff. Because someone who may not even have a Peloton may buy Peloton shoes.
Okay, last question. I guess it aligns to what my question was to Erica. I keep seeing all these people in my group, specifically or not specifically my group, but like an Instagram under the post I put out. And they were upset about it demeaning the brand. Like they felt like, it's no longer, a brand, I can't remember the terminology that they were using, but an aspirational brand. It's no longer aspirational. Now it's like everybody can get one. What's up with that? Like, does anybody care about that? Who cares about that?
I don't care about that. I mean, you can buy Apple from anywhere.
right?
Like I can buy Apple from Walmart. Does
Right?
it change the fact that it's Apple and that phone is still $1,400?
There it is.
No.
Right?
I'm still paying the same price whether I buy it from Walmart or if I walk into the Apple store and buy it.
See, that's
It
what I
doesn't
was
change
thinking.
anything. It's still Apple.
It's more
And
about like it's more about what you get from the product, right? That's gonna make
Yeah,
it
I think
aspirational.
the content separates, the quality of the equipment separates. I'm looking at it as accessibility.
Yeah.
That what if I don't have like the nearest showroom for me is like 40 minutes away, but I have Dick's that's 20 minutes away. So even if maybe Dick's even sells the Peloton weights, I might go there and pick up some weights or pick up some other things that I may need. So I don't think it diminishes the brand, and I think Dick's is actually a quality brand partner when you talk about a bricks and mortar to partner with.
Right.
So I guess I don't think it changes that, at least from my perspective. What I think is it's a smart move because you're trying to move inventory
Right.
and trying to make corrections to make the content and the business structure of equal quality now, because it's like we have this great content, but we can see like some execs and just some things business wise that are not the greatest right now, and I see positive things that are attempting to correct that. So I applaud Amazon for exploring in this digital age like other alternatives and not just putting it in big lots like Danielle said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I think it's more demeaning and more undercutting of the brand to go out of business. So
right.
Amen.
Right.
That part. Let's stay in business. That part.
Right.
I'd rather they sell in Dick's, Target, Walmart. If they're selling the same piece of equipment, the same price, I don't care where they sell. They can sell out of the back of Larry Joe's truck. If it means I'm still gonna be able to ride my Peloton and have new content and ride with my instructors. Like,
Right.
I don't really care where they sell it from.
I think that was
Just
a good
sell it.
example you made. Like you can go buy you can go to Walmart and pick up an iPad and right. So I mean, what does it matter where it's at? I mean, it's about what is the brand delivering? I guess right. I think that's what makes it more aspirational. I like that example. I think you're right about that. So.
I think once Peloton grew to the size that it did just with the pandemic, that mindset just really doesn't make to me that much sense.
Right.
Just because you see how many people they were able to reach when the pandemic hit versus they're trying to continue to keep that growth.
Right.
They're putting out things to just continue to improve. So to think that they were just going to continue to have, just the showrooms in certain cities that aren't necessarily always easy to get to versus the Dick's versus Amazon that people use every single day. It didn't make sense for them not to expand into other stores.
So I got a question. Someone else said in my group, they posted under this the news release. They were like, "Well, will it hurt Peloton to have their product sitting next to other lower cost products with similar capabilities?" Right? No.
No. I think when you think of, at least, and again, I'm biased because I'm like gang Peloton here. But when you come to at-home fitness, there are only certain brands that are top of mind from a marketing standpoint. So I still think Peloton will be neck and shoulders above everyone else, even if they're on the same floor as someone else. To Danielle's point, if I get my iPad from Target, like I'm gonna go to get an iPad.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't matter the retailer because I know the product that I'm getting.
I think yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. Yeah, if the product persists as being, if it truly is quality to the people that want it, then it won't matter what it's sitting next to. So I'm with you. That makes sense.
And I was gonna say, if they try it, if they get on the Peloton and they try it in comparison to, a spin bike or whatever, a Sunny, right? Like, you're clearly gonna see the difference in the mechanics of the bike if you're riding it. On the tread, you clearly feel the difference, and then the guide, there's nothing out there that really compares to the guide.
Right.
So that by itself has nothing to even compare it to.
See, I'm with.
Now, my thing is, I was just going to say is that I don't know about where you guys live, but I'm out in the burbs, and these little Johnnies and Beckys and Susie Lou, they be all over everything. So I'm like, how well are they going to keep the Peloton stuff together would be my only concern in a Dick's. Because I go in there frequently and I'll see somebody's kid on a treadmill. And I'm like, why? Like, why is your child on this treadmill? And you're looking at golfing shoes.
Oh, you mean you're worried about them like damaging the display products? Is that what you're talking about?
Like, I'm just saying, like, if people want to use the comparison, like if I go in and I get on a Peloton and it's brand new, I can tell the difference between that and a Sunny. But now it's been there for 7 months.
Oh, okay.
And little Laura's been on it every day. And no one's taking care of it. Will you be able to tell the difference between a Peloton and a piece of junky equipment?
Oh, okay. I got you.
I don't know if you will, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm anxious to see how they actually present these things in Dick's. Is it like a separate thing, like you said, right? Like Kohl's and their partner, or is it like just on the floor? Like I don't know how they're going to present it, but I'm anxious. What's up, Tammy? I see you were able to join.
You know what? I almost forgot. I got so wrapped up. I had not to like throw you guys up. I had back to school night, and then I got so overwhelmed about like the work in 5th grade, and then I came home and I had a moment with my son, and I was like, "Wait, aren't I supposed to be somewhere?" So I'm here, but I see we're still on topic 1, so I didn't miss like.
Right. You knew we were going to be on topic 1. Exactly.
You said we were still going to be on topic 1.
All right.
We talked about this.
Exactly.
You said you guys will still be on topic 1.
That's what she said.
I know.
Right.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot to. I had it in my head that it was 7:30 too. But I'm here. Hi.
Hey, I had another question. I can't remember what it was about this whole thing, but it'll come to me later, and then I'll just jump back. So it's all right.
One question is, I hope that, to Danielle's point, I was really hoping that maybe this would be a place for, if they close showrooms or the workers that were laid off, that maybe these are positions for them.
Ooh, that's good.
To be like the concierge for Peloton within Dick's.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the Sephora. It's in JCPenney's. It's in Kohl's. You've got like CVS and Target, where you've got these people that are employed by other organizations that are within, say, these big box stores,
right,
that are still like representatives and agents for that particular brand.
Right.
That I'm hoping that maybe that's a way to like, okay, we're going to close this showroom, but then we're just going to move you from here over to here. And then maybe that's also cost structure for Peloton, that then that person becomes a Dick's employee and not a Peloton employee.
Right.
So I'm hoping that they're thinking like smartly about maybe some of those transitions too.
That makes a lot of sense to me. It strikes me as something that, I think Uncle Barry has been doing with some other, avenues with product. And that is, it strikes me as something they're kind of trying. Like that, the 100 Dick's locations makes me think that. And then if it does well and it works out, then we'll likely see more locations. And then that concept you're talking about, yeah, I absolutely agree with. Like, you would think they should probably consider that. And it also makes me wonder if they do continue to like broaden this. That it sounds like it to me, but like it sounds like, yeah, why persist showrooms? That's still a collision in my mind. It's like, why do you, if you're going to start using big box, why do you persist showrooms? Right? I feel like, don't they kind of go away eventually? No? I don't know. That's still in my mind. If this grows.
I think it narrows their market. Like you go from how many X number of showrooms down to 100, if you will, across the nation. And then they are strategic, hopefully, on their footprint, that from this showroom to that showroom, there's a Dick's in between.
Yep.
Right? So
Yep.
to kind of continue to broaden their footprint, but without adding additional kind of overhead for the company and using Dick's as a bridge to that. Because I think like Sephora, like with that example, the stores themselves are more spaced out, but then you kind of have these like pop-up or like microcosm stores within stores in places that are kind of like in between.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I can see your point, and I think, that may be the intent, where it kind of just, it's a way to kind of broaden their footprint. I think that makes sense. I have another question about this, but I may hold it because I know I want to get us into the next topic. Actually, I'm going to skip the next topic for a second because I got Tammy here and I want to ask about this guide.
Oh, I was going to say, are we going to talk about Danielle and her ring light? Because we had a couple of that going back and forth. Because now the guide is back. So
The
that means we all
guide
need poles.
is
We all
back.
need ring lights. We
I know. Now I got to think about getting the guide now. So last week we talked about the guide, and everybody's like, "Yeah, this thing is serious. Yeah, I'm doing reps and it's counting my reps. No, it don't ever miss a rep. It's working." And then people are just like praising it. I'm like, "Oh snap! Like, what's this gonna mean for tempo move?" And like, "Oh, now the guide is the thing now. It's the thing."
It's I mean, and anyone who's been around and heard me, I mean, I was anti-guide. I mean, you couldn't pay me to keep the guide in my house. I mean, literally, my guide was free, and I still did not use it.
Right?
But they've really done some serious upgrades, and it makes me think, like, why wouldn't you have waited until now and like really put out a quality product? Like, why rush and release it and then have everyone kind of out there with this negative, feeling about it? But it's for the most part been working really well. I think there's still a couple of small glitches. So, so the major updates is that, now there's specific guide collections that do rep counting. And the way that the rep counting works is you're able to input your weight and it counts your reps. So, for example, if you're doing bicep curls with 10-pound weights and you do 10 of them, over in the corner, it will multiply your total load. So 10 times 10 is 100. And there's 3 different collections now. There's the Pump Up the Volume collection, which is the one I'm doing. So it's designed to be like a 4-week plan. And each week is 3 different workouts with, week 1 is Rebecca Kennedy, week 2 is with Jess Sims, and then week 3 and week 4 haven't been hit yet. But they're all designed to build on one another and have very similar structures so that when you progress from week to week, you can kind of compare your metrics. So if week 1 you were doing deadlifts and squats and rows, you can kind of compare, did I get more reps in week 2? Did I go up on my weight? What was my total load progress from week to week? And it sounds like, from what I've heard of Tonal, it kind of has some of that similarities in terms of, you can track your progress over time.
Right.
It still is a little glitchy. Like, I was adjusting my pants and it counted that as a rep. So, but it's better than when Nicole used to accuse me of having a ghost in my room when I would sit there like stone cold and the thing would tell me I was moving and I wasn't. There's 2 other collections. There's the Century collection, which is where it focuses on one move. Like, one of them was the snatch, I think. And it's time. So it's, how long does it take you to get 100 reps of a particular exercise? And then there's another collection called Rep It Out, where I think you do as many as you can in 10 minutes of a particular exercise. But I'm really excited about it. I like structured programs. I like strength training that is basic. The moves are simple, fundamental. They're not complex. I like to see my progress over time. So I'm really excited. I completed week 1 and I'll report back on week 2. I don't know if anyone else has played around with it, but I really love it now.
So you like the guide now? Okay.
No, I love the guide
you
now.
You love the guide now. Oh, snap. Okay.
Maybe I should send them my $150 back because they refunded me because I complained about it so much.
Wow. See, I got a question. I know I want to hear if anybody else has it, like what their thoughts are. Before we jump into those questions, though, I got a question. For those classes where you're able to use rep counting, what is movement? Is movement tracker still there? And what is it worth if you can get a rep count in?
So it appears, and I've only been playing around with this for a few days, I think the movement tracker classes are still there. They're separate, and the rep counting classes is a separate collection.
Wow, okay.
And the other thing is that, so for the classes that are in those 3 separate collections, the Pump Up the Volume, the Century, and the Rep It Out, there's no jailbreaking links. Like, Danielle and I have tried it. She can't go to my profile and start the class. Pello Buddy hasn't figured out a workaround. So this truly does appear to be exclusive content so far.
Okay.
With no workarounds.
Okay, you told me something at the beginning of this that it's just news to me. So if you're in a class that's a part of a collection, or just a class that has rep counting, you're telling me there's no movement tracker. And if you have one that's movement tracker, there's no rep counting? Do I got that right?
Correct.
They're distinct things. Okay.
So like the rep counting essentially is your movement tracker, but instead of the tracker being for the duration of the exercise, it's actually counting reps. And the instructor will say, the goal for this exercise is to get between 8 to 10 reps. So if you're getting that easily, you should be challenging yourself with harder weights. And then there's like a little ticker on the bottom, so that'll like be filled up to 8. And for each rep, it'll light up indicating that you've done a rep. And then once you hit the 8, a little chime will go off. But again, like once or twice I was like fixing my ponytail or fixing my pants and it counted a rep. But I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than the movement tracker where it was just picking up random things or not picking up anything at all.
So do you think movement tracker is just going to eventually just be deprecated and just go away?
I mean, I was never motivated by the movement tracker. Maybe it's because it didn't work for me, but I feel like this, and combined with having the metrics to see, how did I progress over time? How is my progressive overload increasing? Like this, I will come back for every week. So from what I understand is every 4 weeks, there'll be kind of a new program that drops that builds on from week to week. So I'm really excited about kind of doing that, doing the 4-week program and starting the next 4-week program. Like I think that's a great way to like have a structured strength training program.
I kind of think the movement tracker portion is going to go away.
Yeah.
And it'll all just be replaced with rep counting.
Right.
And the reason I say this is because, so I was doing one of Jess's classes and it got to the section where we were at a plank. So on a movement tracker, when you hold a plank, the movement tracker still fills up the whole time you're in the plank position. Well, for rep counting, I was like, there's no reps for plank, so I'm not doing it because I don't feel like it, right? I was like, I'm over Jess, I'm over planks, I'm not doing them.
Right.
And then when I got to the end, it told me I only did 6 out of 7 moves. And I was like, God damn it. Because it was counting still if I had been holding that plank.
Oh.
So while the number didn't go up, it still counted that as me not doing it. Like the movement tracker would have, because I literally stood there. I stood there for that whole like minute that she did a plank because I was like, I don't want to. And then, like I said, when I got to the end, it was like, oh, you think you're smart? Nope, you get 6 out of 7 because you missed the whole plank.
Oh, for scenarios like that, it might kind of merge because you would kind of need some because it's not a rep. So
it's not a rep, but it's still like and I didn't realize it was like paying it. I just thought, oh, it's not a rep. I'm not lifting anything. I'm not doing anything. It's just it's gonna ignore it because when you do the movement tracker, like a lot of times those exercises, it'll skip like the warm up and stuff. Like none of that gets counted.
Right.
And it doesn't start counting until the actual class. So I kind of just thought, oh, for this plank, it's not going to count. Like whatever, I don't want to do it. But they're like, joke's on you.
Janetta says she's still.
But it really makes me like think too. So like the guide came out in like April, May, because I remember the Mother's Day discount.
Right.
So if this was the ultimate goal, or this was where they knew the guide was going to get to,
right?
Why would you have? I mean, we're not saying that this was released 2 years ago. It was released less than 6 months ago.
Right.
Literally everybody I knew was like, nah.
Yes.
It didn't break the bank, so I'm not that upset about it, but I don't love it. And now I feel like they have to work kind of like overtime to be like, hey, like you're missing out on this. Like I saw a lot of people this week that were like, oh, let me dust this thing off and give it another try.
Right.
But didn't something else come out at the same time, like around the same time? Because I felt like they had pressure.
They were doing
to release something. So was it
well,
the
they
mirror?
were doing like
something?
No, they were doing the. Oh, you mean a competitor?
Yeah.
I know that was when they started doing the roll call strength workouts, like Monday through Friday.
But
I feel like somebody else was releasing something.
Maybe
I felt like they were under pressure to get it out. Maybe I have time off.
No, I think you're right. I think, but it was a few months before.
Harder to undo all that negative publicity back then.
No, I think you were right. I think it was a couple or 2 or 3 months prior. It's when they announced, but before they actually started delivering it. That's when that whole tempo, what's it called? Move or whatever it's called. that's when that product came out, right? Which is basically the same thing. It was like a little pug that sits somewhere, connects to your television, and it had like rep counting and form correction. And I think we all thought at that time, well, doesn't that undermine what the guide's going to do? And then we heard the guide only had like this movement tracker, and we were like, oh, what the? So yeah,
And the other like one little glitch I found, and I reported it, is so you can like change your weights in the middle of an exercise. Let's say you thought you were going to be able to do something with 20 pounds, and then you have to drop to 15 pounds.
right.
You can change it in the middle of the set, but the total weight load was not adding up properly. Like it was still going up in increments of 20, even though I had manually dropped it to 15. So I reported that today to like, I don't know, somebody who I think is like in IT. And I was like, you might want to look into this. But otherwise it was working. It works really well.
It feels like,
And I didn't have that problem. I did
95% of the bad things I said.
I went to go change a weight, and I went up in weight, and it counted my first rep at the lower weight instead of the higher weight. So my numbers were slightly off, and I couldn't get my voice control to work. But I wasn't sure if that was user error or guide error.
It's probably user error. You were probably yelling at it.
I was not yelling at it, but I know that there's like a specific phrasing you have to say.
You have to say,
and I'm
okay,
always like,
Peloton. You have to start it with
and
that.
I always feel like I said it, but it didn't work. So I have to try it again and see if it actually works or not. And then I was connected to my AirPods. So then I was like, oh, maybe it's not working because it's connected to my AirPods versus just being like, on. So I don't know. I'll have to try it again.
I feel like, that was the problem I think we mentioned when it first came out, which is if the movement tracker is likely doing some form of rep counting, right? That's what our thought was back then. And our thought was, but if it's missing, you really don't know because there's no number. You're just kind of watching this teardrop thing fill up. So you really don't know. You're kind of left kind of out in la la land. Whereas if you're seeing numbers, you know if it didn't count a number or if it counted a number and you didn't do it. Like you were talking about, Tammy, you saw it count a movement, you know you didn't. So even though it might not be right, at least you're like fully aware of what happened. Whereas with the movement tracker, you weren't. You were just kind of lost. And
and the timing would be off. There'd be times where, the instructor was still in the demo phase, but the movement tracker would start and it'd be all messed up. There were times too that the class would be listed as a movement tracker class and I would go and put it on and there was no movement tracker in it, even though the instructor was cueing as if the movement tracker was on it. Like it just, whoever put it in production forgot to, I guess, like add that feature. But this so far, seems pretty, other than the fact that it didn't actually change the weight when I manually changed it. And it once in a while picked up some random movements as reps that weren't actually reps. It was pretty spot on.
yeah, see, I don't know. I'm kind of liking it now. I think this is not. Janetta said she still ain't getting it. Janetta said it's still out. She said she got enough.
She's got to make room for her twin bed so she can get the rower.
She said last week. She said since they didn't announce Marcel being a rowing trainer, that she ain't getting that either. So she don't need to change her bed no more.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, and I heard Marcel been saying all along she wasn't going to be a rower instructor. I didn't know that. So I guess I wouldn't have believed her though. But I guess
she said it again on her live the other day. She called in Katie, I think is her name, and was like, "This is your row instructor, not me." So yeah, hopefully in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't believe anything those Peloton instructors say.
Be telling them stories. They be out there telling them stories. Yeah,
they do.
Can't believe all
they
that.
They are real good at it.
That'd be all. What's going on, Janetta? You.
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You know you getting that guy. Don't you in front.
I'm on the street. I gotta do 7 miles. So I just got out of my car.
Oh, dang.
Listen, I am not getting the guide. Ebony and Jess, they tried to sell it to me. Like they begged me to get it. And I was like, fuck no, I'm not getting this shit. And the rower, no. I don't even have time for the bike, let alone the rower. What am I gonna do with that?
You know,
I mean, I
you
should
know
just
if
get a boyfriend or something. And maybe he can pay my mortgage. I don't know.
you mean to
And
tell
that'll be
me
my growth.
you mean to tell me if like next month they announce the newest rowing instructor is Marcel and she out there, doing what she do?
Then I think I would.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Then if Marcel gets in,
Right.
I hope it's not now. I hope it's when people are like already selling it back
Mm-hmm.
for next to nothing. Then I'll buy it. But other than that, no. How's everybody doing? I didn't even say hi, you guys.
It's all good. We're all good.
I love you and I miss you, and I just been like, into my thing here running, and sometimes I just running when you guys start like at 4 or whatever. So that's why I don't join, or I'm working, one of the two. But no, I'm just, doing my thing and watching you guys, and I don't know, we're getting this shit. Chicago's next week.
Oh, that's
So I'm
right.
like, I'm like a little shaky, like nervous, but I know that I've been training hard. So I think I got this.
I think you
think
do
I
too.
got.
I
Yes,
think you
I
do
think I
too.
got it.
You're gonna kill it.
Okay.
I know you are.
I hope so. I'm ready.
Well, thank you for joining. You know we love you too, so I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, I love you, putas. So I'll keep listening, but I'll run now.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Right. Yeah.
We're gonna change her name to Forrest because
Cause she be running. She be running.
be running.
You know what I mean? Every time I be hearing about her run, I be thinking, you know what? As soon as I get off this call, I might need to run. That just never happens.
And she be running
You're
fast.
so full of shit. You haven't run in months.
That just never happens. Exactly. It just don't happen. But I do think it. See, Tammy, it's like when I get up on Saturday.
Wait, hold on. Did you take the Alex class yet? Because wasn't that? Didn't you say you were gonna?
How do you
You
define
were
taking
watched
it?
it.
How you define
She
taking it?
watched it.
I mean,
Well-
it depends on how you define it. If I took it, I mean,
last week you still hadn't watched it, so I guess if you watched it, then that's
yeah, I
half
watched
credit.
it. I watched it. Yeah. Oh, it was good too. The playlist started out. Oh, the first 3 or 4 songs. The playlist.
So I'm glad
was
it
nice.
hits you on your couch.
Yeah, I like that. I was grooving on my couch to that one. Yeah, and then I got to see what you guys were talking about because he did say right there at the beginning of the run, oh yeah, we in this 7-2, warm up pace, 7-2 warm up pace. So you guys were right. He out there
But
wilding.
I think that might be though a little bit of like his inexperience of like being a run coach, because I think the more experienced run coaches, like I think they know to coach like, okay, we're going to take it to our easy pace, our tempo, because they know like, hey, that range is different for everyone, and everyone's at a different starting point. Whereas Alex was like, well, this is your prescribed pace,
Right,
and,
right.
maybe that is some people's tempo pace, and for other people that's their, marathon pace or their mile pace. But like, I noticed like the endurance runner coaches, like Marcel, like Matt, like Bex, they don't really coach like prescribed numbers. It's
Right.
all about, well, this is your pace.
Right. I was impressed.
And, you're saying, I was just going to say, Tammy, you said about him being an inexperienced run coach. So then explain Olivia. Because Olivia starts out with those wild ass numbers too. And she been a run coach
Olivia's
for a
not
long
like,
time.
She's not, I mean, again, I don't know this for a fact, but I feel like Bex, Matt, Marcel, like they are lifelong like endurance runners who also like were experienced like outside run coaches. And like I worked one-on-one with a run coach. Like it's just, I feel like that's the way that they coach. They don't give you a range because they know that range is different for everyone.
Right.
But Olivia's just an anomaly too.
Heather in the chat, Heather Moss in the chat, she said Alice was just flexing for Chris Paul. I think you might be right, Heather.
Yeah, true. He's gonna be like, I got one shot up on this trade. I'm gonna show them what I can do.
I'm about to show them what it's really about. I think you might be right. And they tried to hang too. It sounded like when I was watching it sounded like they were suggesting that they were increasing too. Like I don't know if they really were, but that was crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to hang with all that. My numbers would not have been that. But
and I think somebody said Chris Paul said he wanted to keep going.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
Yes, he did. He didn't want it to end.
I'm gonna sit
crazy.
back and watch this one.
You gotta watch it.
I'm gonna pull a John. I'm gonna watch it
It was good. You gotta watch it. You got.
because my tread ain't seen a 7.2 unless one of my high schoolers is on it. My tread would be like, "Girl, what you doing? You about to fly off the year?"
I watched that like I watched a Saturday 60. I watched it the same way. You know what I mean? While everybody was running, I was watching it. All right. Let's see. Oh, we already talked about the Rebecca Kennedy exclusive guide, or did we? We talked about that, right? You mentioned it, right, Tammy?
Yeah, so it's not that it's exclusive to her. She just happens to do week one, and she did a little promo on her social media. But it's a 4-week program. Each week is with a different instructor. So she had week one. Jess has week two. It hasn't been announced yet who had week 3 and week 4. And then I guess when the second program comes out, I don't know if they stick with the same 4 coaches or if it's for other strength coaches, but no, it's not that it was exclusive to her. There's a lot of strength coaches that have the rep counting
Gotcha.
classes on the guide.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So real quick about not being able to jailbreak the content. I was talking to Paul, and he's like an IT guy, and he was saying he thinks that they let the other content be leaked on purpose.
They probably did, but I don't
so that
know.
then when they got to this point, it would have real FOMO now.
I like that idea.
Maybe
they could have done.
Maybe I don't know if they're that diabolical, but
that's what I'm not. That's exactly what I was about to say. Are we giving them too much credit? Considering they sent you an ad 3 months early for Peloton and Dick's Sporting Goods. So I don't know. Are we giving them too much credit? I don't know.
He might be giving them too much credit.
I don't know. And maybe it also goes along with the rower content's not going to be on the app for a while. Like maybe this is the start of them beginning to control what gets put out. To who and to who has what type of subscription and who owns what type of hardware.
Yep, and they've already started locking down the stretches and stuff. Because people have been in an uproar about this. That now you can't do
about
the
stretches.
You can't do run stretches on the bike.
Oh yeah,
or you can't do the bike stretches from the tread. Well, somebody in like the OPP was complaining about it, and apparently they called Peloton and complained about it. And Peloton was like, "Oh, this was done a little while ago," and I guess they bitched enough. And Peloton's like, "Well, for your trouble, we're going to send you a Peloton box." So who knows what they sent them? But my guess is probably some blue light special gear that they can't sell. But yeah,
Something
so
in the
people
sales
are in an uproar.
It's something on the sales tab that they sent them.
Probably. Yeah.
It's the Kmart blue light special.
I have not. I used to go and check and see what was going on in the OPP like religiously. I can't tell you the last time I've been out there. Like, am I the only one? Like, is that like? I don't know. It just feels like not really the energy that I'm looking for most of the time. So I'm just never there. I'm just never there no more. Nah.
Don't do it.
I don't go out there, but it was in my news feed. So that's how I saw that, which is so funny because I didn't actually go into the group. It just happened to be on my Facebook news feed. And I was like, what? This is wild that people are upset about this.
Yeah.
But
I
don't typically go out there.
I get stuff in the news feed. Yeah, I hear you. I get stuff in the news feed too. I was just wondering if you guys are like similar. Like I just don't tend to go there like I used to.
It's so toxic. Like everybody is always so nasty and so rude. If it happens to pop up that like one of my friends has posted something, I'll try and go and like comment and give love or something like that. But you don't always see them because if you don't frequent the page that often, that's less of what you get in your news feed because Facebook sees the algorithm and thinks you don't want to interact.
Right.
So they show it less and less. So then I don't even always see my friends' posts to be able to give love. But that's really the only time I go out there. Like I only saw the Bad Bunny stuff because you reshared it.
Oh, yeah, right.
So I was like, oh, now I'll reshare this to BGM. But that was the only way I saw it was because you shared it.
Yeah. I remember when like all of these like these subgroups started forming, back in like 2017, 18. And I remember back then, like I was like, no, we got to get back to the main group. Like I was like big advocate, go back to the main group. I didn't quite see I saw the benefit, more focus on a particular topic or a particular instructor. But back then, I kind of felt like, but no, we got to go back to home base. But over the years, like by the time I got into 2018, 19, like it just slowed down. And now it's like gone. Like, I don't know that I ever go there now. It's
It
crazy.
definitely seems more negative, and I think like for like the new people of Peloton that come on, if that's the group that they join first,
Right.
it kind of can leave a bad taste in their mouth, honestly, because out of all the groups that I'm a part of on the Facebook, that one definitely does seem to be the most negative, whether it's a drop that they have they didn't like or their product isn't working right. It just seems a lot more negative than the others.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. So that's interesting. You guys kind of felt the same way. But I figure it's probably like a progression. Newer members probably go through. I'm assuming I'm probably not unusual. But anyways, I saw Aaron in the chat was asking about. Oh, we already talked about Dick's Sporting Goods. Yeah, we talked about that, but it's all good. Aaron, raise your hand and come up if you have any questions about it. We'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about with regards to it. This is just friendly conversation. So. If you had a question or wanted to talk about it, or post it in the chat, we'll bring it back up. All right. So let me go back to the topic that I skipped over. You guys are going to have to help me with this one because I didn't really read this right here. Like, I just heard the murmurs of it. And I guess Ash Pryor started, calls out somebody or something for body shaming on IG. What was that about? Does anybody know what that was about? I don't know what that was about.
Okay, so the keyboard bullies and the trolls are just outrageous out there. So people have been commenting directly to her. Some people have been sending her DMs. They've been on her pictures, just saying that she's unhealthy and she's not fit and she shouldn't be an instructor. And why would you take any advice from her? And she's like Lizzo. And it's just really, really negative stuff that, like, one, it's hurtful and it's mean, but it's so unnecessary because athletes come in all sizes. And she's doing things that a ton of people can't do, regardless of what you think about her size or anything like that. So it was ridiculous. And it's still going on.
So people are coming under her IG posts and talking trash?
Yes. Sending her DMs
and
on her post, on her Facebook post,
it's like, on
her Instagram fan page. Like I do her Instagram fan page, and someone commented today, I would never follow her as a trainer. Why would I listen to anything she says? Which of course I deleted and blocked, but I'm like, you took the time out to come to her fan page and make this comment. Like, what was the point? She didn't seek you out. But you found it necessary to come here and just, spout negativity and nastiness.
That's,
And some of the comments are like, you don't want your coach to look like what you don't want to look like. Like, it was like really negative, and it just felt like people were honestly fat shaming or even projecting their own insecurities on her. And it was just really inappropriate. And a lot of these people, I was like, this is ridiculous. And this is in 2022, we need to understand that healthy does not look one type of way. And you can be a size 4 and still have health issues. You could also be a size 24 and be healthy as all get out because it's the inside. What do your labs look like? What is your endurance, your stamina? What are your joints, your health, any other chronic, issues? But I just felt like it was completely negative and inappropriate. Now, her clapback was absolutely just chef's kiss. Like, she put everyone in their place.
I think what you said about projecting their own insecurities hit it on the head. Because that's just like, and also with like social media in general now. Like, it's like everybody uses it as a means to demean for the purpose of bringing themselves up. Like, I see that commonly. Like, people use social media for that purpose. Like, that's a,
Let me just say, I want Ash in my corner any day. Like, I went to the showroom and I'm healthy. I'm doing like all these classes. I couldn't hang with her for 5 minutes. I was like, okay, like, here we go. So, like, honestly, I want to get the rower because of her. And she has street cred.
Right.
I mean, she went to Ohio State. Like, she has receipts and street cred and competitions and everything. So to me, her credentials should outweigh what she looks like.
Yeah,
Now,
that
in my opinion, she's beautiful and she's
right,
gorgeous. You know
right.
what I mean? But it's like, have you worked for a top 10 or Big 10 college in a professional division team? I think not. So I think anybody, like Jess says, if you aren't in the arena, you need to have a million seats. So
Okay.
don't comment on her size if you also don't have her same credentials.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that whole thing. That's terrible. Like I didn't know the whole context, but yeah, now you guys giving me this context. This is broad. Now
And
it's on
yeah,
the
and
fan page.
I'm
It's on the
sorry,
IG. That's crazy.
Charlotte's correcting me. Let me come correct. The Ohio State is
Okay.
where Ash is from.
Exactly. Yeah, that is some crazy
Yeah, and
stuff.
it's so crazy. And it's just like, I don't understand the other part too. Is like, why every woman who is not a size -4 is compared to Lizzo? Like, her and Lizzo are not the same person. I don't understand the comparison. I don't know why it has to be made. And like, why are you comparing her to anybody other than herself?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the comment that I made, was like, Ash reminds me of Ash. She reminds me of a strong ass athlete who was going to kick my ass on that Peloton rower. And that's what she reminds me of. Like, point blank, period. That's it. She reminds me of Ash. Like, stop comparing people to other people.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things. I know that you're in the public eye and you're now, exposed to everyone's whim and their own insecurities. But yeah, every time I hear that stuff, it hits you in the chest like that is some bullshit. But damn, yeah. Well, like we said, with whom I know we've come into these scenarios before with other folks, and we were like, well, we're just gonna have to like flood them with support and love, right? That's all this is. We're just gonna have to flood Ash with support and love. That's it, and we're gonna just let them other people go. So that's crazy though. All right, let's see what we got next on the agenda. Oh, let me just say this. Most of you guys, some of you guys probably know that my youngest daughter has been hospitalized now, going on probably her 6th week now. She's in a rehab facility now, but she was in ICU, and for a minute there, we thought she wasn't going to make it, and to a point where the doctors sat us down and told us there was 0% chance that she was going to come back. She's going to be brain dead. They asked us to make the decision to pull the plug, and we made that decision. And they then told us, well, is she an organ donor? And we said, yeah, she's an organ donor. So they said, oh, okay, so since she's an organ donor, we're going to have donor services run some tests to see what organs they could take, which delayed kind of turning off the machines. And within those 2 days that they were checking her organs, she started to come back too. Had she not been an organ donor, that day that they were telling us to just let it go, there was 0% chance she was coming back. She would have been gone. So in our minds, it's just a miracle. But I'm telling you this story because it's ongoing. This whole saga is still going. But in the middle of that, I get this large package in the mail, and in it is soups and like a ladle for the soups, and a bowl to go along with it, and a card from Dara Treseder. And she and her family showed me and my family an incredible amount of love relative to that situation we were going through. And she's always been kind to me. And I know it's common for us to talk about, Peloton and the inner workings of Peloton. But as it relates to life, Dara has always been very kind to me. So when I heard, and so that's the reason I'm telling you that story. So when I heard she was leaving, Peloton, there's the part in my heart that hopes that she's moving on to something much bigger and better. And so I'm bringing it up, but I want you guys to kind of have the context of like, there's a personal thing in here now as it relates to Dara, and a retrospective in my mind about who she's always been to me. And that is like an incredibly kind soul. That's all who she's always been. But anyway, now that said, she announced this week that she was moving on, I think, to Autodesk. Autodesk. Is that the company? I can't remember the name of the company. I don't know if you guys remember. But she's moving on. I don't know if this is just another round of what they're just doing now, at Peloton. I don't know if she just decided, hey, this is, I've got a better opportunity. I don't know what happened there, but I know she's gonna do well wherever she goes, and I'm happy for her. I'm wishing her the best wherever she goes. Where I think it's Autodesk. Now I'm struggling. Now I'm upset that I don't remember the
Yes,
name of the
Autodesk.
place.
You got it.
Yes,
got
it's
it.
Autodesk.
Oh, okay. But I'm wishing her all the best there. I don't know much about that company though. Do you guys know anything about it? No. Yeah, I have to check it out. I don't know much about them.
But John, the tone of her exit it hit different, and maybe because I follow her and I've always been kind of interested in how she, ran the, brand marketing and communications, but it just felt different than the other exits. The other exits felt like, kind of what happens when you have new leadership on board and you need to make cuts and we need to make hard decisions. This, at least, maybe it was how she crafted it or described it, was like a level up for her.
Right.
And that Peloton created this platform for her to level up, which is what I think we all know, that this platform is huge, and instructors or different people, can really go on and do lots of like great and different things from what they're doing, like all the brand partnerships that the instructors have. It just felt a little bit different. The timing was a little bit like suspect, like, oh, wow, another exit. But I also know that the timing for a lot of these things is never accurate. I am slightly suspicious of what's to come, but it just hit me, at least in reading about it and how like it was announced, was just a little bit different than the other exec exits announcements.
Yep. And
So
go
I
ahead.
was going to say, someone pointed out that all of her family is back where in California, I guess, where she was. That she didn't have any family here, and then I believe her husband just re-enlisted. So I think all of that should be taken into consideration too.
Gotcha.
That she knew he was going back into service,
Right.
which is why he cut his hair and everything. And she's got young children. She's a daughter and a son.
Yep.
And to be someplace alone raising them with no family, and your husband's going to be gone, that's a lot. So if you have an opportunity to go to where your family is,
right,
and get a good job, you take that. At least in my opinion, you do. Because raising kids is hard. I can't imagine having a spouse that's in the service.
Right.
And the amount of time that they're gone and what you have to deal with on your own.
Right. Yeah, and I'm with you, Courtney. It did hit different. It felt different than I've seen others, and it felt like I'm moving on and up. It had like kind of a feel to it. So, yeah, prayers and well wishes, and yeah, I'm 1,000% in the corner, and I'm looking for her to do big things like she always has. Nothing new.
And then I also saw her commenting to the like well wishes that people were giving her. Like, I thought it was cool that like, I think it was like the Black Peloton writers was like, oh no, like we're going to miss you. And how she kind of commented back on Instagram, like, you guys have always been like there for me, like very affirmative.
Right.
In how she was interacting with people. And so it just seemed like this was maybe on her terms and not because of some like kind of corporate C-suite like shakedown.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking too. So yeah, I'm all hyped about that. That's good stuff. Now I'm gonna have to edit this whole thing, and I'm a crier. My eyes getting all watered up, and if I can't even post this on YouTube now, I'm gonna have to cut the whole thing out. But anyway, all right.
You better leave it in there. Let her see you cry.
I'm gonna have to do real editing on this video. Okay. But so shout out to Dara and wishing her all the love and the best. So what day is today? Today is the 29th. I don't remember which day. 24th, 25th, or 26th. I don't remember which day. But one of those days this month was the official 3-year anniversary of Peloton's IPO. And I was it had me kind of in the retrospective mood when we hit that date. Because I remember the day of the IPO and we were all excited. And I remember getting up early, waiting for, them to, ring the bell at the New York Stock Exchange and all those people and all the instructors behind the podium and the excitement to see the ticker numbers start going. And, the thought that they were going to open up somewhere around, I don't remember what it was, I'm guessing somewhere around 28 and they opened up somewhere lower or something. But just to see the numbers and seeing it tick, I remember we were all excited. And then it was just the craziest roller coaster ever since, right? It shoots up, and it shoots down, and all this craziness. So I don't know. I just thought I would bring up the topic, to see what your guys' thoughts are on the company, like your mindset on Peloton as a company today. Like, my mindset hasn't changed as it relates to the workouts, as it relates to the instructors, as it relates to the brand. But the IPO, the IPO stuff and the public stuff, that has been wild. That has been crazy. Anyways, I thought I would just open that up in the event anybody had any perspective on it. No?
I just think they were undisciplined. I've said that they were undisciplined and didn't really have a strategy. But at the same time, I don't know who else is really doing what they were doing in the market. And sometimes when you're the first, you have the hardest lessons to learn.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're the first and you're the different, everyone's going to critique you much harsher because there's no comparator.
Right.
But I think that we would be in a much different position. We may not have as many subscriptions, or we may not have as wide a reach as a company. And I'm saying we because, I have stock, but I just think we overspent and we were a bit, we were just, cashing out dollars like we were at, Magic City somewhere, knowing that bills were due the next day.
No
so
doubt.
I just think we were just a bit undisciplined,
right.
In the company spending. And I think if we can get that right sized, maybe things will level out, but it's also hard to do that in a time of inflation and the S&P globally not doing that well. So it's just also just the marketplace as well as I think is just overall concerning.
Right.
But how I feel about Peloton has not changed. I just think that we have to, make those corrections and take an honest stock and honest look at what went wrong and try to patch that up.
Yeah.
How I feel.
That's where I'm at too. And what's funny is over the last few months, couple months, probably 2 or 3 months, I've seen a lot of good stuff happening. Like a lot of really good things. And it's, but the way the stock is performing, the way the space is now, where we're at with connected fitness, it just feels like, it's just, this stuff maybe should have come earlier and right, all of that Magic City type spending and the Disneyland, One Peloton Park and all that, all those things just kind of derailed the business. But I feel the same way, like from my workout perspective. I feel like it's still the same for me, all that stuff.
But look at how much positive have happened. We critiqued Peloton apparel and then look at them nope, we're selling out. We're creating these capsule collections, these partnerships, offloading the inventory. So it's not just sitting, in a warehouse somewhere collecting dust and you're paying fees.
Right.
I do feel like they're doing what needs to be done to try to right size the ship. So, I mean, so that's why my opinion isn't changed, is because they're not just, I think, putting blinders on, just continuing down the path and ignoring it, but they're facing the music and trying to do what they need to do to correct it.
Yeah. Hey, Sheldon, what's going on?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Yeah, lovely stories, by the way. I mean, I didn't know your relationship with Dara, and thank you for sharing that with everyone. I think it was really nice of you to do that, and I'm glad to hear your daughter is on the recovery. So glad to hear both of those things.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So but commenting on this component of the conversation, it's amazing. Great comments by everyone so far on it. I only can wonder what would have been different if the pandemic had never happened.
I'm telling you, yes.
I tell you, it was the blessing that was the biggest curse.
Yes. Yep.
Because it catapulted. I mean, no one could go wrong during the pandemic in connected fitness. No one could go wrong. Even the smallest of these, millions and billions of dollars were put into connected fitness.
Right.
Just like you couldn't spend money fast enough to get into this market. But anyone stepping back and really taking a hard look at it is, okay, look, this is an artificial market.
Right.
And this pandemic will eventually end. And what's going to change? Will people go back? I think it's irrational exuberance at its finest. It's optimism at its finest. And you could only wonder what course direction would have been different had it never happened. Would same strategic decisions have been made, the investments, the Peloton part, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, you almost wish you could go in the Wayback Machine just to try that scenario and see how it would have been different.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I wonder that too. I'm not the, corporate business mind. So I don't know, in retrospect, kind of Monday morning quarterback, I go, wow, if they had like the frugal, a very experienced CEO, maybe they would have navigated pandemic or non-pandemic better. Yeah. Would we just be looking at this from a different angle, but a similar kind of outcome, even without the pandemic? Like, I wonder all those things. All those.
Well, you think about it. It's like this leadership team that was there, Foley and the gang and all those, they were great at running that company when it was small. They were forced into becoming a how many $billion company in the blink of an eye.
Right.
They didn't have time to become good executives, frankly, in many cases.
Yeah.
And you sit back and you look and you coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of from the easy to sit here in the Wayback Machine, armchair quarterback and the whole thing, but it's you just would have wondered how the whole thing could have played out a little differently had a natural growth cycle been allowed to happen.
Right.
They could have had time to make better decisions, frankly. Again, I think they made some horrific, stupid decisions that obviously they shouldn't have.
Right.
But when you put the whole thing together, it's like, man, what could have been different?
I remember back during the core of the pandemic, and they were struggling to keep up with demands, and like deliveries were taking 2 months, 3 months, whatever it was. And they came out on an earnings call and they said, we're going to do air freight. And I remember going, air freight? You can do that with all these bikes? And at the time I thought, well, if you can do it, brilliant. But in retrospect, I'm going, that was the silliest thing ever. So that's where the cost of that. So it's like that whole Monday morning quarterback thing. It's like, who would have been able? I don't know. I'm not
to be
the corporate
fair,
CEO. I don't know who would have been able to navigate those waters. Would someone really have been able to? I don't know.
At the velocity at which they rose, it would have been particularly hard for someone that hadn't done it before, frankly. And so, it is what it is. But But I will say, there are a lot of us, you included, and we're looking as they're making these decisions throughout the pandemic. Why? No, stop. No, don't do that.
Right. And I was saying a long time ago, and so were you.
Exactly. I would say.
So were you.
I'm like, so I think better decisions could obviously be made, but when you put it in the context of the meteoric rise of that company, you have to say, man, what an anomaly! What a great time for connected fitness, but what a horrific time for connected fitness.
Yeah.
Because of the bullwhip effect of the whole industry just destroyed it. It literally did. I mean, it's completely built out this infrastructure and optimism and spend that was supposed to continue that rise, and it did not. And so,
Okay, on that topic.
everyone is suffering.
Okay, on that topic. Okay, I got like two agenda items that I could probably merge into one on that topic. So, late 2019, Nautilus says, oh, you know what, we might have to go bankrupt. You know, we're struggling. They had just dropped, I can't even remember what the product was. They had just dropped some product and it didn't work at all. And they were like, this isn't going to work. And also, so in November or so of 2019, they tried to jump into the connected fitness space. They dropped some bike. I don't remember what the brand, the model was or the name of that bike, but it was their first kind of entrant into connected fitness. And then I'm listening to their earnings call. So now it's like early 2020. It's an earnings call in 2020. And they're like all exuberant about the fact that the company has just kind of turned around on this one product, right? Like connected fitness had saved them. And so then they were saying, well, we're going to just put all of our eggs in this connected fitness basket. We were about to go bankrupt. Now we got this one product and we're going all, head first into connected fitness. So to your point, yeah, connected fitness was like, you couldn't go wrong. Like Nautilus was dying. They put out one product and all of a sudden they're not. Well, today, we heard last week, Nautilus is like back to struggling again. Now they're looking at a potential sale. So we're back to late 2019 without it. Like they went through that whole roller coaster. Now we're back to where they started in late 2019.
Yeah, everyone had a life preserver for 2 years in the connected fitness industry for sure.
Right, and so it makes me wonder now. Like, are we just back to baseline? Is everybody just back to where they were? Really? Like is Peloton back to pre-pandemic, and now they just have to go back to slow growth? Or no?
I think they're worse because they've oversaturated the market now. There is no room for growth. You have so many, I guess, call them frivolous players still hanging into it that the demand that's left is getting sliced and diced. Peloton is still going to be obviously a leader in it, but I think the pandemic super saturated the market, and there's not going to be a recovery. It's in a bear market for connected fitness for the foreseeable future, from what I can see.
I see in the chat, Kari, I see you said yes. You think we're just kind of back to where we started, and Peloton is now just slow growth, has to go back to. They're at a slow growth progression of where they started, or do you I'm wondering if you kind of agree with what Sheldon said. So I don't know if you can type it in chat or jump up if you want to. But in the interim, I want to throw something else out there. Here comes Kari. Let me let him respond to that. What's going on, Kari? How's it going?
Yo, it's going good, John.
That's good.
Watching the Dolphins.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's about to start.
Yeah, it's on right now.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, did they get back to basics? Yeah, I think they did. I think they came back. I think it was frothy. I think the whole market with pandemic was oversaturated. I agree with what Sheldon's saying about the oversaturation.
Yeah.
But I also think that they have made some tremendous leaps in some areas, mainly in content.
Yeah.
And some of the things they've done recently have really, in my opinion, extended their brand and made it almost as if people are like, well, maybe I might do something with Peloton. I see Kenny Chesney running on a treadmill. Like, wow. Like, I don't know. I just think that they're tapping into audiences that may have never really thought about somebody like Kenny Chesney on Peloton. But
I think
that product is going well.
That's where I think they are doing some amazing things over the last couple of months. I just don't know how much it matters now. That's where I'm struggling.
Yeah, I think you make a very good point, though. I think the next if there's any frontier left, it's content. I think equipment. I mean, again, I'll stand by. I don't think releasing the rower was a great idea, but I think content is the only frontier left to keep innovating on. That's going to really add value to this industry.
So I got this question too. This is the other part of the agenda. I wanted to roll into this, just kind of roll together with this. So Peloton's stock's been diving, and then as soon as they announced the big box, opening this up to Dick's, I don't know if those things tie. I don't know if that's just a market thing or if the market just said, we don't like the idea of this big box chain thing. I don't know what it is, but they tanked even worse today. But when I look at Planet Fitness, they're struggling too. So what's going on? Are people not working out the same anymore? Is it slower now? People aren't as focused on working out no matter whether you're at home or not. What's going
John,
on?
this Dick's thing is like my worst nightmare.
Do you think that hurt them? What's up? Do you think that relates to the stock?
Have you been in Dick's before and seen the equipment like at 9 o'clock at night?
I never really. I'm at Dick's all the time, but I never really pay attention to the equipment, so I don't know. I'm not normally there for that.
Gets dusty. Nobody really pays attention to
Really?
it. It starts sitting in a corner.
Ugh.
Like, the box tag starts fading out. The lighting. It's my
I
worst
did bring this
nightmare
up.
for Peloton.
Oh, dang.
See, this is what I was talking about. The way they take care of the equipment once it's in Dick's. That was what I was saying. Is because I'm telling you, people let their kids on there, and it just runs amok. At least out here in the burbs.
Oh, snap.
So, I mean, I think if they do, like we were saying, I said if they would do like a build out of the Peloton store in the Dick's, then I think it'll be completely different. But if it's just out there with the other equipment, I am a little concerned about the maintenance of it.
Dang. So, but do you think?
Well, it sounds like, John, we all gotta go out to our respective Dicks and clean the bikes off.
Okay.
And do our community service for the company.
We're gonna have to go out there with the cleaner and the towel. We're gonna have a sign.
I
The
do enough
wipes.
stuff.
You need to bring the wipes.
And the wipes.
That's what I mean.
John doesn't
The
have any
wipes.
wipes. Remember, he doesn't wipe his bike down.
I know. That's why I was like, "Where's Yanetta telling us to make sure our nasty people clean our bikes?" So maybe we got to go stand next to the bikes. It's like, let me tell you about the real experience and clean off the bikes for them.
I gotta clean off bikes at Dick's. I don't even clean off my bike at home. That ain't
And listen, I already do enough stuff for Peloton that they don't pay me for. Surely, I'm not going in the Dick's cleaning off no equipment.
Well, if you find somebody posting me somewhere that this lady pulled out of her Peloton bag some Lysol wipes and was cleaning off the Peloton bike, that was probably me. Just how much we love the company.
Okay. Well, I'm still wondering about. I don't know if it's like I don't know if these things relate. I don't know if there's some other factor in this I'm not considering. But the fact that both this Connected Fitness brand, and this big box gym, Planet Fitness, both are struggling in the market. That's what got me wondering. Like, are people kind of like, not us, I know we're working out. I'm not working out as much as I used to. But are people have they slowed up on working out? Is working out is it kind of gone away? What happened?
People are back in real life.
That's what it is.
Back in school. They're taking their kids to practices. Their schedules just aren't the same as they were in the summer. Yeah. And I think we'll start to see maybe a little bit more people pick it back up as it starts to get cooler and people can't run outside and be outside as much. But yeah, people are just living life now. They waited 2 years to kind of have things open back up, and yeah, they're out and about.
Yeah. I feel like it's what it feels like. It feels like it's not just Connected Fitness. It feels like fitness in general, something has lulled. That's what it feels like to me. Yeah. Well, anyways, I don't know. Were you saying something, Danielle? I
was just going to say, I definitely think that it's just all fitness in general is kind of taking a hit.
Yeah.
My friend owns a gym, and he just recently had to close his gym. It had been open for 8 years. And it stayed open, it wasn't open during COVID because of, rules and stuff. But once COVID was over and they were able to open, he opened back up, but people just weren't coming in. He just couldn't keep the same, clientele that he had before. And granted, it's a boutique fitness gym because it was boxing, so it was on the smaller side, but he still was struggling. So I think fitness. I don't know. Someone said people are outside.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're just, I don't know.
It's also got to be tough to be a business owner right now, John. Like, you've got costs going up. I mean, there's all sorts of things on the business owner side that would slow it down, from my opinion. I think that part of that's going to be some of this shedding, I guess you'd call it, in the economy. But I'm sure there may be a little bit of exercise residual, maybe from people doing a lot of exercise COVID and maybe kind of ready to go back to their regular routines.
Yeah,
Right.
people are
I think
certainly
it's
finding their
hard.
lives again. Yeah.
Yeah, they're back to their lives. Right.
They're back to their lives. I think what I see is, being in the healthcare industry, people are burnt out, and so they're not necessarily taking the exercise as a priority, but trying to like rest more, and I think just be out more because they were cooped up for so long. I think also it's a tough market. I mean, a dollar store is now $1.25, so cost of everything
The
is,
dollar
going up.
store
So
ain't
it's just
even
a
a dollar
challenge.
no more.
Right, that's what I mean. Like it's just challenging. And, I work at a small boutique yoga studio and I was talking to the manager and, we're doing okay, but it's just a challenge to keep people engaged, because now there's like so much, to do and everyone's trying to get business. And then also just inflation and the cost of things, the cost of labor, the cost of goods is just, really challenging for businesses.
The dollar store is $1.25. Now, see, that's where I can get my button in. See,
Damn!
yeah, that's messed up. That's a problem. All right. Well, anyways, we're rolling up on 8:30. I didn't want to go much past 8:30, and there's a couple more things I wanted to get in. So let me run through them real quick. Did anybody see Alex on the Pivot podcast? I don't know if anybody caught that, but it's a it's. Are you?
It was really informative. If you didn't really know his story, why he ended up having to go to military school, the meaning of the relationship with his dad, why he is in fitness, all the things. You really got to know him a little deeper than just him being that, club banger instructor that we all love.
Yeah, I thought that was a very I thought that was a very good interview. I thought they did that up really well, and you got a lot of detail, and you saw the emotion in him speaking about the detail. You kind of got the feel of what it was all about and how it all came to be, and what the things in his life, how what he felt a struggle in. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was
Yeah,
nice.
it was probably one of the best that I've seen that he was a part of in a long time. It
I
was
agree.
really, really good.
I agree. Anybody who hasn't checked it out, check that out. Look up the Pivot podcast. And again, it's video. You can catch it on YouTube as well. So yeah, I thought that was really good. Check it out if you guys haven't. What else do I got on here? Oh, what's up with this Bad Bunny artist series? Who's excited? Who's not? What's up? You know what? I can't lie. I don't know a whole lot about Bad Bunny. I'm not. I don't. You know me. I listen to old school hip hop, and that's about it.
Me neither, John.
I
I don't get what the hype is.
I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm not, but people are excited. They're hyped up. I see people real excited about the artist series.
Music is good.
It's good.
Music is good. It's good. I mean, so I know everyone don't shoot me. I'm not a huge Cody fan. So I like him, but I can only take him in small doses. So I am unsure if I'm going to take this class or not because I love Camilla. She's got such great energy and she is
Ooh, she got a lot of energy.
hilarious.
Yes.
She has so much energy, but I'm like, can I take him
She's
for a whole
hilarious
30
too.
minutes? Like, I just don't know if I can take Cody for 30 minutes. But the music is good. The music is really good. I may not know anything he's saying, so I don't know what he's saying about, but the music is great.
I'm learning that my span of music knowledge is just getting thinner and thinner. I blame Sirius XM radio. I mean, because I just turn it to old school hip hop. I don't know what's been coming out for the last 15 years. I don't know. So I don't know any of these. I don't know anybody no more.
They play a lot of Bad Bunny, though. So you've taken classes with Robin. You've taken classes with Camilla. You've definitely heard Bad Bunny. You just don't realize that that's who you've heard.
Okay.
But you've definitely heard some Bad Bunny songs.
Okay.
He doesn't realize because he's on his couch. He's not on his tablet getting to see the song name broadcasted on the left side of the screen.
I'm too far from the screen to see that. Them letters is too small. I don't see that.
I'm excited for it. I'll be taking the ride. It's not too early for me here in the Chicago area, but Bad Bunny is he's like a rap pop artist, but I mean he's doing a lot of good things in music, breaking barriers as well as for the the Latinx culture. I really like the music. It's like club music. He has like kind of in between. Not quite club, not quite ballad. You got some bops and some jams. So I am here for it, and I cannot wait to take the ride because I think Cody and Camilla together, I think they're going to complement each other really good.
Pat Darling said she's older than most of us, and she's all excited about Bad Bunny and Cody and Camilla. And see, I told you, I blame Sirius XM Radio. I gotta turn this another station or something. I don't know none of these people. But, okay. Anyway, you mentioned Latinx stuff. I want to jump into that real quick, and that was on our agenda. I'm not sure who put it on, but the Latinx and Hispanic Heritage Month virtual community event. I don't know anything about this. Tell me about it. What is that? I don't know if who was.
So it was on today. They sent out invites to people to join. They had 2 members speaking live with Hannah Corbin and Mariana.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought my kid was leaving all his crap in my car. And they just talked about their culture and growing up. And Hannah told some funny stories how her leaderboard name used to be Sorta Rican on Peloton because she's Puerto Rican, but only sorta. So it's really good. You could probably catch the replay. They did have like polls and stuff, and
that's
like
cool.
I said, they spoke to 2. They had 2 members.
Yeah.
On the panel with them.
Was it in Spanish or English?
It was in English.
English.
They
English.
did.
It was
They
good.
did speak a lot in Spanish, though. They did.
I was gonna say, because wasn't that like one of the criticisms of like the homecoming panel that they had for the Spanish community, that they did the whole panel in English?
I remember that.
Yeah, I think it was, but I don't know that this was necessarily geared towards the Spanish community, since I got an invitation to it, and a bunch of people got invitations. So I'm assuming that's why it wasn't in Spanish. But they did say some things in Spanish, and I was like, I don't know what y'all talking about, but everybody's laughing, so I guess it's funny.
But I get it. It was like meant to just kind of celebrate the culture and celebrate,
Yeah, I was going to say, it was meant to celebrate and elevate the culture and, I think invite those of us that appreciate, the Latinx culture, and heritage. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was super funny, and I think it's always good for us to step outside of maybe our cultural like norms that we're comfortable with to just learn. I also want to say that the Latin Hispanic Heritage Month apparel drop, I got it because it was also super cute. So Peloton has listened with the pattern. So I also wanted to support in that way too, because I thought it was great.
That is a good segue into the last topic, and that is the apparel stuff. So the Latinx apparel. And now I see Kendall Toole has new apparel. And the last time we talked about, we had talked about apparel for nearly a year, and everybody was like, I'm done with apparel. John, I don't want to talk about apparel. Then a month ago, we talked about apparel, and everybody was back excited about it again. So now I'm wondering, like, have they changed things up and slowed down the drops enough to where now we excited about the apparel again?
Well, I think a part of it too is the instructor capsules, because people have been waiting for that to come back, and especially, it came out so long ago before a lot of the current instructors, were here. I mean, Jess Sims's capsule sold out like this, and now Kendall has a capsule, and like Courtney said, the Latinx was very cute, and I think those always kind of do well, but I think it's more the themes of the capsules that's driving them.
The themes, people are liking the themes.
I mean, that's what I think. I don't know.
That makes sense.
And Tammy, they're not being put on sale. They have made it very clear, once we sell out, that's it, that's all. Like Jess Sims, I think they only restocked the sweatshirt. And then today they were asking about the Kindle and Spiritual Gangster Peloton collaboration. And Peloton was commenting like, we do not plan to restock. So I think also that demand that we were talking about, they're creating again.
Sarah, in the chat asked about... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said they knew Courtney was buying it regardless.
Yeah, I mean, well, one, I love Jess, okay? So I was like, I'm snatching it. I love Kindle and Spiritual Gangster. I'm snatching it. I wanted to support Latinx. So I was like, yes, but it's also like, hey, now if I have this, it is more kind of exclusive because, it's sold out. That's it. That's all. You get it or you don't. So I think it goes back to like several years ago where it was like, okay, let me get my drop and then I'll let other people know about it. And I think it's creating that demand. I also think it's cuter, like it's more visually appealing and it's not so plain as well. So I think like aesthetically. So I know that they made some changes with what is it, Jill, kind of being over the apparel line. And I know some of
Yeah.
these things were in the works, but I think that even with the apparel, I feel like they're making some more positive changes to like sell it and make it more appealing to the members.
Yeah, Sarah in the chat asked that question about wasn't there a turnover in management for apparel? Yeah, there was a turnover, but I think when the turnover happened, I don't know if we really saw a whole lot when that initially happened. But now it sounds like we are now starting to see there be more of a change in what they're doing. That sounds like it's creating more buzz. I see that Megan mentioned that most of the sizes in Kendall's collab are sold out. So yeah, people buying this stuff again. Or I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
it just released today, and I was up looking at the Spiritual Gangster website because it launched on Spiritual Gangster first before Peloton. Because I was like, I know this is going to sell out because when Kendall had her Knockout collaboration, like just her and Spiritual Gangster,
yep,
it sold out in the same day.
right.
So I think that's also telling, like, hey, we're making these capsule collections; they're selling out in a day. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, because it had gotten to a point where it was just constantly drops of like a million different items, and some of the things in my mind just looked like the same thing from the last drop, and it got to a point where no one seemed to care anymore about apparel. So that's good.
I think one other thing they're doing now too is they're putting new stuff out and they're not announcing that there's new stuff. Like I'll go into the website and I'm like, I don't remember this. Is this new? And then I send it to like Steph and Jess Minardi because they have all the things. And I'm like, is this new? And they're like, yeah, this is new. So I think they're also kind of just quietly putting stuff on the website and selling it and not doing like these whole big, announcements anymore.
Yeah, Kari said the emails have slowed down. I know. I
But
don't get the same number
Danielle,
of
what that
emails.
does is it like makes me go check more often. You know what I mean? So I think it's, at least for me, it's working because it's making me more curious. Like, well, what are they doing this week?
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that. And the Spiritual Gangster stuff was really cute. Steph was gifted the capsule. So I saw it yesterday. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want that hat because that's like my color. And then today I saw the fighter hoodie. And I'm like, oh my God, I want the hoodie. And then I saw the hoodie was $108. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not getting the hoodie.
Well, yes, the price now, well, also, working at the yoga studio, we have lots of Spiritual Gangster there. Spiritual Gangster's price point is a, a lot. It's even, slightly above Lululemon. So yes, 108 for like the hoodie, 108 for like the sweatshirt and the bottom. So it is pricey, but I think that is, on par for the Spiritual Gangster brand, to be honest, from what I've just seen like in our store.
Yeah, that's what I heard, that's like their normal price point. And I was like, yeah, that's great for them. I'm so happy for them. I'm sure it'll sell out.
All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to wrap it on up. But I appreciate you guys coming through. I always enjoy having the conversation with you guys every week. It's fun. It's a good break to my week, and I hope it is for you guys as well. I'm like I mentioned earlier with everybody else, like I'm slow. I got to get back into a better routine of my workouts. I'm trying to get back into that routine now. And so, if I'm able to do that, hopefully I'll see you guys on the bike or tread on the leaderboard somewhere.
Why don't you post the group
I thought
ride
maybe you
or
wanted me to give you
something?
a workout.
Oh no,
No.
I done learned
That'll
about.
just go in the black hole and it'll never get done. But post a group ride that you're going to do. We did a couple of those, as you know, while you were at the hospital. But, now post one that you can do and join us.
Oh, I would love to do that. I would love to do that and be on there with you guys. It's funny now when
and then it'll keep you accountable that you'll actually have to do it if we all show up.
I know, huh? I get on there infrequently now. So, but when I do get on there and I see folks, it's kind of a, I get used to common rides over the years. But now that I'm not on as often, when I do get on there, it's like a special treat when I see people on the same class I got on. So yeah, that might be nice. We could just like pick up.
Just don't start a session.
Yeah, don't start a session. You'll be there by yourself.
I'm gonna pick
Pick a time and show up.
a session that we
Go look through the schedule, because it's coming into the weekend. Members will be in studio. Pick something that, works with your schedule, post it, and then whoever can come. And we'll all find each other.
I like that. Okay, I'll do that.
All right. Well, I'm putting this on you. You got to pick the class, and you got to show up, and you can't phone it in from your couch.
I have to actually. You have to see my numbers moving.
Where's Jazz? Is Jazz here? I need somebody in the middle household.
I don't know if Jazz is here.
Partner with.
They got to make sure that my numbers are moving. Yeah, I'll be taking it. I'll take it. I'll actually take the class.
Okay.
Believe it when we see it.
What's that? We need video or something?
No, believe it when we see it.
All right, I'm going to post it. Hopefully,
all right.
You guys join me. It'll be fun.
If not, it's going to be a topic agenda item number 1 next week.
Uh-huh.
So.
All right, cool. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining. Hopefully I'll see you guys on the ride this weekend that we're going to throw in the group. If not, I'll talk to you guys next week. All right? Cool.
Night.
Good night. Talk to you later.
All right, bye, guys.
Good night, everyone.